Have you ever wondered about what kind of stress comes with running a side business? Like, I know that our lives are already, pretty full. Maybe you've got a family, maybe you're in some kind of relationship, you've got commitments with your friends, you've also got your job, maybe you've got some hobbies, some things that you love to do, and all of these things kind of come together. And there are some stresses associated with those things, especially if you've got kids and people relying on you. And so I always wondered what it would be like to run my own business on the side. So I work for a church. I do what I love already. I'm not looking to replace what I do for church, but I wondered if I added a side business into my life, how stressful would that be? Would I be able to sleep at night? Would I be worrying over finances? Would I be worrying over clients or deliverables, or maybe how I was going to accomplish a certain task? What would that kind of stress be like to carry a side business? And I want to talk to you today about really my journey and what it has been like over the last 4 or 5 years or so, and kind of some lessons I've learned along the way, and some mistakes I've made, and also some right decisions that I've made as well. I do believe that if we play the long game and we're kind of building for the future and we're not in a rush, that we can build a very low stress side income. Now, I want to be clear. Originally, when I first was creating the thumbnail for this video, I was going to say something about stress-free business. And then I kind of had a little moment there with myself, and I thought, that's not really honest. That's a bit clickbaity because there's no such thing as a stress-free business. In fact, I think in life there's probably no such thing as stress-free anything. I think anything that carries responsibility is probably going to have some pressure associated with it. I'm not saying that it would be like a debilitating pressure or a pressure that will overwhelm you. But of course, there is responsibilities, and you have to carry those things well. And so it's the same with a side business. There is no such thing as a stress-free side business, and I want to be very clear on that. There will be some obligations that come with it, but now, as you've got the stress-free idea out of your head and you're saying, okay, that's not the goal, but there is the goal of a low-stress business. And for me, that was my goal because I wanted to continue doing all the great things that I was already involved with. I did not want my side business to overtake what I do for church, my main thing. For you, that could be, I don't know, a passion area of your life, or maybe you work for a nonprofit, or you're a freelancer or a tradesman, or I don't know, something that you love to do. Maybe you just really love your job right now as well. I didn't want the stress from the side business to impact that part of my life. And so the good news is it doesn't have to, and you can build a low stress online business if you have the long game, if you're playing the long game. Okay, now if you're trying to listen, if you're taking advice from a lot of people online that are basically saying, you've got to get to 10K in this amount of time, or earn this amount a month by within 3 months or within a year or something like that. If you're playing that kind of game, all power to you. That's great, go for it. But that's probably, my channel's a bit different. I'm not really talking about that kind of approach to building a business. I'm talking about building it in a way that is low stress and won't impact the other parts of our life. So I think if we have a long-term perspective and we're like, hey, if I could make a few $1,000s a month extra, and over time build that in a way that doesn't negatively impact my life, that would be awesome. Even if it took 3 years, even if it took 5 years, that would still be a big help, and I would not regret having put the work in to do that. So if that's you, then listen up. And if you've made it this far, that's great. So I want to share a few kind of stresses first, things that can pop up that we need to be careful of And then we'll get into, I think, some of the ways that we can build that will lead to a low stress business. So the first one is financial stress. Obviously, if you go out and you commit a lot of money to something, that's going to be stressful. And for me, when I started my online business, it was very low finance at the beginning, almost nothing. Registering a business here in Hong Kong, where I live, is very easy. In fact, I could do the whole thing in 30 minutes, and it just costs, I don't know, like $100 or $200 or something like that. And I had a business, yay! And then it was just about watching YouTube videos. They were all free, and learning skills, trying things online, maybe with some cheap subscription software, maybe some website builders or things like this, and I was off. Now, if you know more of my story, over time, I did end up spending a lot more money. I started buying some online courses. I started, putting more finance into some digital assets. And so I ended up with financial stress, but in the beginning, I started with basically none, and that's the way I would go. So financial stress, we want to avoid large, down payments and big financial investments early on. Another stress is the skills gap stress. So basically, when you've got to do something for a client and you don't have the skills, you don't know how to do it, you've overpromised, you have said you could do something and it turns out you can't, and so you're online and you're frantically trying to work out how the heck am I going to be able to do this. That causes stress. It's not fun. I've been there, and I think that's one stress to avoid as well. And the third one is deadline stress. And that is when you need to get something done by a certain date. That can really cause you to lose sleep at night. And, deadlines, yes, they are a part of life, but as much as possible, we want to avoid them where we can. So how do we do that? How do we avoid these things? And like I said, we've got to play for the long game, right? We're not rushing to get there. That is a key. And I think another big key is just not being greedy. If we fall into the trap of being greedy or trying to rush things, then we're asking for high prices, we're asking for high commitment from clients, and that adds stress, that increases expectation. So I think that's my summary of the next few points that I'm going to say is we've got to not be greedy. And I think that's been a big key to my low stress side business. So how do we build a low stress side business? Number one, start with free or cheap work. Okay, I did not do this. I took some bad advice that I heard online. Basically, people saying, "Oh, you should charge up here and charge what the value is that you're providing and all of this." And that all sounds great. The only thing is, when you're a beginner and you have no confidence and you don't know what you're doing, to go out and to charge high prices, firstly, you're going to get turned down all the time because real business owners actually can feel you out and they know that you're a beginner. And why would they pay high prices? And you exude no confidence and they can smell it. And so they're not going to pay high prices. So you're going to get very few opportunities. But the other thing is, if they do say yes, if you can find someone who says yes, you'll be excited initially, and then the stress will come. And you'll have to perform at a level that is up here because they're paying you at the level that is up here. So I think the much better way to go about things, and the advice I would have on this channel, is to just do things for free. Start for free. That's the beauty of online businesses. You can do work for people for free because our overheads are so cheap. Maybe just the price of some, a few subscription softwares or something like that, maybe $30 a month or something like that. So you can pay for that out of your own pocket and help a business in some area and get them some wins, and then you get confidence, and over time you build up your prices. Or maybe you just start really cheap, or go from free to cheap. just charge a little bit, and then you don't have that high expectation on you. That is going to lead to low stress. So in the beginning for me, I actually started off just doing commission-based business. So basically, if I got you results, if you made some sales off the customers that I'm sending you, then pay me a percentage. And so that was the business owner had no stress. They didn't care whether it worked or not. If it worked, great. If it didn't cost them anything. And for me, I didn't feel like panicking, like, oh, they're paying me a monthly retainer. I need to send them 20 clients a month or otherwise they're going to quit on me. No, I just started off low, and then over time I can build that as I get better at doing my job. And so that was a big thing, was starting for free, or just at a point where it's low commitment. So just don't start with a high price. In summary, number 2, one client at a time. Okay, don't just go out there and get 10 clients. That sounds wonderful from the finance standpoint, but the delivery standpoint is very difficult. You don't want to be worried about all this fulfillment. You don't want to be worried about, do I need to hire someone? Do I need to get all these freelancers working for me? How am I going to manage this with my family commitments, my wife, my kids? When am I going to get to sleep? This is a problem, I think, when we have basically gone out there and got too many clients. We've overextended ourselves. There's just no need. If we're not in a rush and if we're not being greedy, then we can just get one client at a time. Get one, do really well, add another one. Do really well, add another one. Do really well, add another one, until you're feeling like this is a good amount where we're moving forward. It's being a blessing financially to my family, and it's helping me out financially, but it's not killing me on the stress side of things. So don't go out and get 10 clients, get one, and then get another one, and so on. I think you get the idea. The third thing is to be selective. Only take the jobs that you like. So over time, you're going to get lots of different kind of offers, and you'll have these opportunities come up where clients might say, well, hey, I don't really need that, but this would be really helpful. And you've got a choice to make of, do you go and do that thing, which is going to take, you're going to have to learn new skills. You're going to have to invest time into doing some other things that are outside of the systems that you've built, outside of the skills you currently have. And you're going to have to learn some new software or whatever it is. All of that is going to add a bit more stress. And so maybe in the beginning, you might try some of that just to get some clients, just to get some experience, just to get your foot in the door. But over time, you want to be selective on the clients that you take. And so for me in the early days, I did take some clients that I would not do again. And they were all great people. It was a journey. And I think probably everyone needs to kind of go through this, but over time you need to be selective. And I've certainly turned down a lot more over the last year, or I have not investigated the opportunities that were on the table. I have not taken them further, just because I can see that's going to be a lot of stress, and I don't want to add that into my life. Even if the finance seems really good, it's just not worth it for the kind of life that I'm building. Remember, once again, this is not trying to replace my 9 to 5. I do what I love already. I'm already in the place I want to be. It's just a side business. And so looking for the low stress option. So be selective. Number 4, don't sign contracts. This is an interesting one and might be, I'm sure many people would object to this advice in the business world. But for me, I've just found that if I'm getting clients results, they want to continue to hire me. And so in the early days, I did do some contracts, and I just felt like in the end, it wasn't really necessary, because if I was doing a good job, they wanted me to continue. Like if you're making a business money, they don't want to stop that. They only want to stop it if it's not actually helping them. If you're helping their bottom line, they're not going to cut you off. And so I decided to let that be my contract. And so instead of being bound to something, which can be stressful, instead I would just try to get them great results. And so that has been my personal benchmark. And I think that helps a lot with the way that I'm dealing with these clients, because I'm not feeling like I've got them trapped, and I'm not feeling trapped by something I've committed to them. It's a mutual agreement that we could break at any time. Yep, that's true. And I guess maybe you might say that is some stress that I'm living with, but because I've got a number of clients and they're diversified, I'm not too fussed by that. And if it's not going to work out, then that's fine. We'll just end it, and we'll end on good terms. So don't sign contracts. There you go. Some advice that may be contrary to other advice out there. And so the last one, I already kind of mentioned it, was diversify. So for me, over time, I've got clients in America, Australia, and Hong Kong, where I live right now. And I've also got clients in different industries. So I've got plumbers and people in tradesman industries, and then I've also got doctors and dentists, and I've also got what would you call it? Like kind of like high construction industries as well. And so I've got different industries, and I've got also different geographies. And so because I'm spread out, that also means that when there's a challenge, like for example, recently in America, in Hawaii, there's some real tragic, the real tragic fire that's happened on Maui Island, it's very sad. But I actually had some business there, and because I have Australia and I've also got Hong Kong, it didn't really affect my income that much. And so, praying for everyone that's been affected by those fires, but thankfully my business wasn't really too impacted because I'm spread out, I'm diversified, and that helps me to sleep at night. And this hasn't been that hard to do, and it's been kind of organic because I just saw other opportunities elsewhere. And so, in summary, you really can build a low stress side business. And like I said before, in many other videos, look at online businesses, but look for low stress types of business. And I believe that you can have a productive side business and also have a good sleep at night and be able to have some good rest and family time and, all the other great parts of your life at once. So that's it. I'm going to finish this video. I do want to talk about in the next video how I'm coping with that low stress, how I'm coping with stress from running my side business, and how that's actually helping me. And so if you want to hear about that one, make sure you stick around for the next video.